Hello and welcome back to another episode of Unlocking Your Financial Future. I'm Ben Schrock, and today we have special guests from Baskets Galore. We have Deb and Hannah Wasylko. How'd I say it, guys?
Good job.
I get it right?
Perfect. You got it.
Welcome to the show. So today we're going to spend 2 episodes with you guys, find out a little bit more about you both personally here on the first episode, and then kind of dive into the business a little bit more, and then kind of break it off in the second episode to see where it takes us. Sound good?
Yeah. Perfect.
Excellent. All right, guys. So let's get started with whoever wants to take the show first. Get to know you guys a little bit better, and so I'll let you pick. Tell me a little bit more about yourself, your background, and I guess what ultimately led you guys to owning and starting Baskets Galore.
Well,
we got plenty of time.
I was born. So hi, I'm Hannah Wasylko. I am operations manager with Baskets Galore. My mom started a company 19 years ago, so nice. I was, 3. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty young.
Yeah.
I'm 23, so whatever. You do the math. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm almost 24, but here we are. But yeah, I started right out of college. Mm-hmm. At first, my mom didn't want me to work for the company quite yet. She wanted me to earn my stripes, kind of. But I was like, Mom, I worked for a couple companies here and there, and you seem pretty busy. So, I think we might need each other. And she's like, yeah, come on board. I'm like, cool. Awesome. Say
Tough interview, huh?
Yeah. But my background is at Mount Union, University of Mount Union in gorgeous Alliance, Ohio. Yeah. If you've ever been there, I'm sorry. But yeah, I triple majored, oddly enough, in theater, marketing, and Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, so none of those bad boys overlapped, but I ended up working for my mom, so I didn't have to really do that much work.
Yeah.
But I did anyway. So yeah.
Awesome. And how about you, Deb?
Well, I won't go back too far, but I did grow up in Parma, and I come from very modest, humble beginnings. Mm-hmm. I'm 4 children. I'm the youngest of 4. My dad passed when I was very young, when I was 11, and my mom had some medical issues. And being the youngest of 4, I had older brothers and sisters, and I just learned to kind of navigate life on myself.
Sure.
And we didn't have the money for me to go to college, so I picked a 2-year degree. And so I'm an X-ray tech by trade. And then in the day, I worked for employers, and was asked to come into industry and write and test about medical equipment.
Okay.
And they just said, go back to college. We want you to manage the departments. We want you to hire people. And I was self-taught to become a process engineer for medical devices. And so I did that for over 20 years.
Wow.
It came time for me to relocate. They wanted me to manage 100 engineers.
Wow.
And so, I was very blessed because at that time in the 80s and the 90s, your employer paid for your degrees.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So I got 2 more degrees, and my final one was an MBA at John Carroll.
Wow.
And I was just really blessed to have, you work hard and good things happen.
Sure.
And, I'm a boomer. Mm-hmm. And so that's how we feel valued, is by working.
Yeah. And
so to me, it was just recreation. And when it came time, I was married and I wanted to have children. We did that. We had Gabe and Hannah has a twin brother too, but he did pass away when she was a baby. But lo and behold, I didn't take the relocation, and I just had to re-engineer my life.
Okay.
And so I just was looking at things I loved to do, and I loved designing. That was a big thing when I was a teenager. Everyone thought I was going to go into graphic design.
Sure.
But there wasn't a career path in the 70s for that. So I was like, I'm very practical. And so I'm going to go to school and just do the practical things. So when it came time to decide, I wanted to raise the kids and use my mind, I came up with gift design, corporate gift design, because at that time we were in e-commerce in the 2000s. You remember everything going on with e-commerce. I'm like, still practical, but I'm very creative too. And so I just came up with, let's do corporate gifts. And I started it from the home.
Awesome. And so you designed your first, was it a gift, like a packaging unit or?
Yeah. So I'm just used to teaching myself things.
Yeah.
I didn't, like a lot of people will work for a florist or work in an industry, and then they'll decide I'm going to break off and own it myself, or I'm going to start my own. I just kind of put it all together and took the business background and my creativity. I just read and studied and taught myself. And that worked out pretty good.
So what made it, what was the connection to like a corporate gifting program? Because you're basically an engineer minded, right? So when I think of corporate gifting, corporate planning, that kind of stuff, you don't often assimilate that to an engineer mind, right? So where was the connection and what took you down that path?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when people ask me that, that's all we're doing is solving problems creatively. Mm-hmm. So now I can work with CEOs and C-level people and understand what their need was in corporate. Was it to generate leads? Was it to retain? Was it to appreciate employees, clients? I could take all that and assimilate it and then come up with a creative solution that would stretch their budget.
That's awesome.
Like, what if we branded some boxes or branded your ribbon? And let's see what your budget is. And how can we solve this relationship connecting thing using creativity and the culture of your company?
Yeah.
And so it's like just knowing what to assimilate and put together and just shake it up in a bag and produce a concept for them that they're like, wow, I think that would be really powerful in my company to attract talent.
Sure.
Or to reward employees, or to recognize and retain my clients so that they don't feel ignored.
Yeah.
And they refer us more. And so that became you really hit on, that's the whole mainstay of the business.
Right.
It's building relationships, using creative ways to connect. People love to open boxes and they love to be recognized. They love an unexpected surprise. Yeah. And we can do all of that with subtle branding. Mm-hmm. So your brand is still front and center, but you're attaching it to something that's really appealing to your recipient.
Sure.
And making them feel special.
It's awesome. And speaking as a client of your guys', their boxes and their gifting is awesome. So you guys do an absolutely phenomenal job. I know our clients love it. We love it. We love working with you guys. So it's been an absolute pleasure doing that for, I don't know how many years has it been now?
It's so many. Yeah. I can't even remember.
It's great.
Now. It's
And just the constant evolution of how it started, even with us working with you guys at a small scale, and your willingness to work with us at a small scale, then, developed more and more and more. And it's been fantastic. So again, speaking as a client, we love you guys and you do a fantastic job. So, when it comes to the development of the product, so like it was just you, Deb, right, to start, and then at what point did you say I need help? Because I know when you have that entrepreneur mindset, I oftentimes equate it to, I started in the basement of the bank building on the corner, and I was 26 years old. I didn't have any money to invest in my business. I cashed out my 401k, paid my year's worth of rent, and said, all right, I know I can operate for 1 year. That was my goal. And not just to operate for 1 year, but like have a space to operate. And I just cold called every person I could out of a phone book, out of a white pages, every day, just constantly calling people, trying to connect, trying to get appointments, and trying to ultimately work with them. So take me through your guys' journey to how do we get that first client to, building this business to what it is today?
That's a great question. And Hannah will talk more too in a little bit. But
no, I don't
this is the beginning. She was 5.
Yeah.
So she just remembered her mom making her do crafts at the kitchen table while I was making those calls. And so, what I coach new businesses to do when we're helping them with marketing also is to work with everyone and be visible. So I was doing what y'all do. You're networking. You're asking your family members, who do you know at Parker Hannafin? Who do you know at Progressive? Who do you know at Westfield? And little by little, you would get these leads, these prospects, and you would give first. So I don't mean necessarily giving gifts first, but giving information like, digital is important and we're all doing it, but have you thought of sending a small touch point gift or showing them how you can do something that will make an impact and showing them how they can brand things in a different way. So I do what everyone else did. I joined a lot of programs and event teams.
Oh yeah.
Because we're slower then, so I have time, but I also have kids. So my kids were dragged to events. I would set up and do events, or
have a booth, basically.
Have a booth, right? And just
that's awesome.
The things you do. I was doing at the beginning like little bags of things with printed ribbon, and it's just constantly being visible and showing value. And then little by little, you'll get these. What you focus on expands.
Right.
So if you're focusing on helping others and helping them with their problems or their pain points and doing little touch points just for them to thank their clients, or if they were having an event, could you do something for our event? Just starting that way, and then the word getting out. And then just really understanding the value that you offer.
Sure.
And so we just kept doing that, and it started to snowball where we were getting more leads. And
may I add that?
Yes, please.
She taught me something very important in the beginning too. So I was a self-taught salesperson too. So I did a lot with sales throughout college, marketing as well. So I was really taught how to sell, but I wasn't taught how to make a relationship first.
Right.
So that's something that she saw, that I was confident, I was ready to go. I knew what I was talking about.
Knock on any door,
I was ready. I was like, hey, what do you want? But she taught me off the get, you don't always have to close. You don't always have to, they don't have to, just because they don't want something right now, that doesn't mean that they won't want something in the future, be top of mind and plant the seed. So you taught me, and you still do that, like when people walk in, ask for a job, if we can't offer them a job, we might be able to build a relationship with their past company.
Right.
And with them, more importantly. Or that just happened like last week. But something like that, you don't know what it will come to. But if you make a friend, which I love making friends, then that's really all that matters.
Sure.
It sounds so obvious, but Ben, you and I and Hannah were in the relationship business.
Absolutely.
And so I would watch people trying to pitch and sell before they even knew you. And I would just be like cringing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, no. And I know that sounds like everyone should know that, but people don't always know that when you build a relationship, they'll ask you what you do.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, maybe, if they like you and you're fun to be around, they'll want to hang around with you, and they'll want to introduce you to their boss or their CEO. And it would just happen because we were nice.
Right. Well, and I think in any type of business, there's ultimately a transaction, right, that makes you guys money and successful, keeps your doors open. Same here. So ultimately, there's a stigma about what salespeople do. There's a transaction here, but when someone comes into our office, they're oftentimes very guarded because they think we're going to sell them a product, a fund, investment, whatever it is, until they walk out the first, second, sometimes third appointment without even buying anything. And then they're like, this is a totally different experience. And that's what it is the relationship building aspect of what we do. And then ultimately it involves a transaction at some point in time. But it's fascinating how that works.
Of course. And the more, the better at this that you are, you'll say, maybe we just share ideas and see, if we can help you, and also how we can even help you with leads. So we're always giving, and we're always giving ideas, and to see if there's a match. And then we handle it very casually.
Right.
for the right reasons. Because people can tell when you really want to help them or not.
Yeah. And you guys, to us, are like a valued member of the team where, hey, we have our strategic gifting partners, Baskets Galore, that they're going to help us with that arm of our business. She's not worried about going to your office. Oh, they're going to upsell me this, or we're going to have to package in this bottle of wine or whatever. No, it's just what can we add, or how can we improve on what we're already doing with that?
And that's where most of our business is. It's on referrals and our regular clients. Mm-hmm. And that's where Hannah and I are now working on strategies so that new people know about us.
Yeah.
And that's a different strategy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, what is it? Kind of two-part question. Obviously, was there a point in time where the business really kind of took off? I know in our instance, it was getting through those first couple years, and I always credit Caitlin when she came on board in 2018. Our business really just exploded at that point. Was there a point in time, Deb, when your business really kind of got over that hill and just took off? And then second part, I guess, was that when you added Hannah into the element, and to me, it's almost like adding that fresh mind from the outside world that knows the business and cares about the business as much as you do, but also sees some growth potential that we may have our blinders on, because you get in that mode for so long, you kind of you close off to what is in front of you, and having that outside fresh perspective like a Hannah or a Caitlin can really add value to a business.
It adds a lot. And what we did at the beginning when I was still in my home is my PTO moms would come and help me.
Yeah.
And I hired them. And you do what you have to for special projects to grow in your home. And then we eventually moved out, and it was growing. So again, now we're like in year 15 of this. But what really made it grow was COVID.
Okay.
Ironically.
Interesting.
Ironically.
It's very rare.
So it was very scary. It's still traumatic for all of us. What we did is I was nervous, like it took me a week or two, just, keep going.
Yeah.
And then you've got to, get this under control here. Like, I'm not going down this way.
Yeah, right. I fought through harder things in a global pandemic.
We've been through a lot of things, trauma and tragedy in the family and all that, but I'm not going down this way. So I just told my team, because I had workers now, Hannah wasn't there yet, I'm just going to have to do a lot of this myself. I'm going to have to go back in production. I'm going to have to do the invoicing. And I just need to get my bearings here and figure out how we're going to market now.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And it was all of our current clients. And I started looking and reading about what was going on in industry. Mm-hmm. People were having a hard time connecting. Mm-hmm. They wanted to keep their employees. They didn't want to jump ship. They wanted to calm down their clients, calm down their employees. And so we did team building and touch strategies with little boxes and things to keep them calm and engaged.
Interesting.
And we did this over Zoom.
Wow.
So the timed opening box I was like, okay, so
we still do the timed opening now.
We still do it for events, because events are hybrid. You have
Yeah.
people working at home that need to feel cared for and nurtured.
Included.
You have now the whole country is shut down, but they still need to do business. So companies like Westfield or Sherwin-Williams were saying, okay, we need to meet.
Yeah.
We need to make this good. And we have our wine and beer license, and we are able to ship some things to them. So we would do happy hours and actually breakfast boxes and lunch boxes and charcuterie. And we just did this even with a timed opening. Say there's 50 employees meeting for appreciation or training. That's great, Hannah. And we wanted them to open it all together. So we would put a sticker on the shipping box. Mm-hmm. And then when they opened it, they had a beautiful experience. So, what you see when people are unboxing things, you see those, the pretty box, the tissue, the charcuterie, the cheese, the meats, the mustards. We just did that. And people were like,
Well, more
aha
importantly,
moment,
it was
right?
like, yeah, it was like more importantly, it was like that level of suspense. It was excitement during
Sure.
a unpredictable time, and it was a predictable excitement that was happening. So they all had that sticker that says "Do not open," so no one
Yeah.
can sneak peek. I'm sure
Right.
some people did. To a Zoom meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or whatever you had
Right.
to change it for. West Coast, and then everyone got to enjoy that together, and it was finally something that was what do they say, bringing normalcy back,
Yeah.
all that jazz. But yeah, it was brilliant. I don't know
That
how you
is.
came up with that.
I mean, I don't know that it was my idea, but I still read every day on what's
Sure.
going on in industry. The psychology, like you said, we're looking at behaviors and what people are struggling with, and how can we solve that problem for our clients?
Yeah.
If they're nervous about, engagement or retention, what are those things that we can do that are measurable? And it helps having the process engineering background, because we can measure success.
Right.
Well, you're not afraid to change. Something that she does awesomely. She's so good at this. Is if there's an issue that a client has, she won't just be like, well, this is what we offer. Like for you guys, we just offer these boxes, we offer these candy bars, we're not changing. You guys have some certain issue. I know Caitlin came to me a couple months ago about like an engagement strategy, and we're like, yeah, let's change. Let's optimize what we're doing. Even if it's smaller, if it's more work for us, she doesn't waste time or knowledge to just like get right into it and solve a problem.
Well, I think that gives you guys a personal touch, because you're not like gifting. Was it the Harry David? Like is the big one, or there's hundreds of them out there. But the personalization that you guys provide, that extra element, that extra touch that you guys do, matters when someone does open that. And even with the stuff that you guys do locally, with supporting local businesses, with including in your packaging, it's impressive, and it means a lot to people in our area.
You're so kind, and we'll never put a competitor down.
Oh no.
However, some of the other folks aren't going to put your branded ribbon on it. They're not going to personalize your card. They're not going to add your swag to it.
Nope.
And we'll do that because we know it's important to you, and we can.
Yeah.
We can do it for 1,000 boxes or 500 boxes or whatever you need, or one.
Yep.
It's just that we see the bigger picture and what you're managing, and we truly want to take this off your plate and make your life easier, because we understand how important that is, as being your supplier or vendor.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, switching gears a little bit. So, what's it like working with Mom, and what's it like working with your daughter? I know we work together, husband and wife. It's different elements. I envision sometimes Caitlin working with her mom. I don't know if the same outcome would be always smiling and happy, but
Well, we couldn't work with our partners. I didn't say that.
So what's it? What, you guys enjoy it? What's it like working with Mom and daughter?
I love it.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised, but then I wasn't, because I've grown up with her. She works from the home for a while. I'm very similar to her, but then in some ways I'm not. So there was a little bit of a adjustment period, but I think it was, I don't know. I think we both surprised each other with how well we work together. How do you feel?
I could not be happier. I know that sounds, I was open. I knew she was really organized, and she's very creative, and that organization part, and she wanted to make money.
Sure.
And my goal with my kids was, if you wanted to work in the family business, I want you to go work for someone else first.
Yep.
And during COVID, and, we were really blessed, Ben, with just growing so rapidly during COVID, and we chose to buy a building and expand on that, an old bank. And I just said, why don't you give this a try? And honestly, we needed good people.
Yeah.
I needed people that would invest in our company, and I can trust them. And she came in, and I thought this is going to take a long time to train her on design.
Thanks, Mom.
And she just came right in. And she just jumped in and embraced it. And I was pleasantly surprised by how she I want to learn everything. My husband and I were dumbfounded, actually, that she really wanted to work hard for us. And
that's awesome.
She cares about money, and she doesn't want to waste money, and she's looking at scrap. And she picked up, I thought, I'm going to start you in design because that's what you are most interested in. And she just picked that up. And honestly, after I think it was 4 to 6 months, I gave her a raise. And then not even a year later, she was like, "Can I manage something here?" And I'm like, yeah. And let's do the operations because you work really, I was just observing what she can do well. And I was blown away. And it's like, I tell people, don't let her age. Don't underestimate her age or her beauty because she's really good. And I was so surprised, and I really appreciate that about her, that she can jump in and give me some time away.
Thanks, Mom.
So I was pleasantly surprised. And I'm not saying that we don't, we like on a design something and, because we're going to be going through a logo change. But I'll just be like, okay, this is really important to me. And she'll say, okay, I'm going to back off. And I'll know when something's like important to her. Like she doesn't like certain design because it looks too Canva-y and I'm like, I already know she's not going to like that. And so I don't even show it. So I think it's just a mutual respect for our strengths.
Sure.
And we do have both strong personalities. People will say, both of you do not need a microphone. And when we're
here we did it today. We give you both one. You're doing great.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Deb.
And we'll be out networking and people can hear us and they're thinking, did they have a drink already? And we're like, we haven't even drank anything. And we're just like this. So yeah, she's really great.
That's awesome.
Really so blessed to have her.
Yeah. It's funny because Caitlin and I actually were talking about this, I think just yesterday or a couple of days ago, because just the dynamic of, children that grow up with parents that own a business and have that entrepreneurial spirit, how that is just almost not like ingrained in them to where you guys want to work for that family company. Then there's that old saying, right? Mom and dad started the company, the second generation grew the company, and then the third ruined it. So, that's like, I'm like, well, gosh, hopefully I'm dead before that happens with ours. But it's fascinating. So like when you said, just pleasantly surprised, and I'm like, yeah, it's awesome to hear, but probably it's not surprising at all because of the way that they saw you working and what you did early on really rubs off on kids and makes them want to work and appreciate the company. So I think it's kind of cool to see that dynamic play out. Our kids are still too young. They're 6, 4, and 1. So they still have plenty of time to make their minds up. But hopefully we get to that point where they can come work with us one day.
I think it helped as a woman, entrepreneur that enjoyed working and worked a lot. It helped with the guilt a little bit when I saw that they were benefiting from our modeling.
Sure.
Because I would even say to them,
you and Dad did a great job.
I'm not even looking for that, but it made me feel like when they come back as adults and say, I watched Dad do this and it really helped me, or I watched you manage a client on the phone. And that really helped me, or you didn't get upset this time, or, you know.
Well, like you mentioned, we were at corporate events and, I had the stupid asparagus and grilled chicken every other night. It was good. I mean, but we learned, oh gosh, I remember being very young, having shake the mayor's hand. And I'm like, what? Who was Gary F. Warren? I don't know. But I had to do this stuff. And then it helped me gain confidence speaking with teachers, asking them for, extending grace, stuff like that. So that stuff helped us. With professors and other employers. So that stuff helped us a lot, Gabe and myself.
Yeah. Sure. And the biggest thing that surprised me was after she started a month or 6 weeks, she came up to me and she asked me, what can I do better?
Right.
And I almost fell off my chair because I think in interviews, I tried to coach the kids for their first job. Ask your future employer, what is their biggest problem and how could you help them solve it?